Our bike trip around the Baltic started with lifelong Swedish friends. It led us from Stockholm, north to Åland in Finland, and across to Estonia, where we have other friends, and down to Latvia, and then back to Sweden, with a final visit. It starts in Stockholm to unpack our bikes and get ready to depart by ferry, heading north through the archipelagos and islands of Stockholm. The towns and countryside is typical Swedish, traditional but modern and up to date. Grisslehamn is where the ferry leaves Sweden for Åland, which is a semi-autonomous part of Finland. Åland is a near-perfect place to see by bike. Full of history, with old churches and forts. Great B&Bs, and idyllic scenery. In summer the wildflowers are superb. Åland comprises hundreds of islands connected by bridges and ferries, so the sea is ever present. And with lots of bird life. Some islands are tiny, such as Kumlinga. They quaintly reflect the old world history. Berra is one very special and unique island. It's very tiny, with forests, near-perfect seascapes, rocky granite terrain, wildlife. It has only one house, a B&B run by Henry, with one of the best restaurants in Åland. Heading north, the wildflowers, connecting land bridges and bird life are ever present. Free beer here, tomorrow only. A ferry takes us to Kustavi on the Finnish mainland. And absolute seafront accommodation. Another ferry crossing, and then a much smaller boat took us to Charlo, a very isolated island far from the normal tourist route, but beautiful. And the first sighting of a sea snake. Onward with an even smaller boat to Hutskar, an amazingly isolated lookout with the wording, "Whilst in the tower, you are in charge of it." Beautiful views. Tiny seaside villages, a great restaurant and comfy stay with Maria. Busier roads and ferry crossings, a church, and a warning sign. Backtracks and beautiful harbours, and near Nagu, a fabulous home-cooked meal, watched by deer. Henry from Berlin, an amazing fellow, is travelling solo with a tent. Parainen is a pretty town. Fortunately has a bike shop where we can get a new seat and also a lovely B&B with Hannah. Not far from Turku, medieval Kuusisto Castle. It's close to Kuusisto Manor Gallery and one of those unplanned unique opportunities when you're off the beaten track. Mirja Makler was setting up her eclectic exhibition for next day's opening day. Turku is the former Finnish capital. Grand, fine dining, lovely buildings, and totally nautical. Helsinki is a city where you can feel quite at home. Green trams, Connex buses, and VR trains. Then it's on a ferry to Estonia, and a very special welcome with the folk music and costumes, courtesy of our old friends Alo and Varje. Tallinn is a beautiful Hanseatic city. We've experienced the medieval beauty before, but we'd never visited the unique Maritime Museum, where an English submarine, the Lembit, has pride of place. Alo and Varje can make friends feel fully at home with their family. Time to check the bikes, say farewell, and we're on the road again, with a final look back at Tallinn. Lovely bush tracks and the ever-present sea. Padise Manor is one of those fabulous B&Bs you never forget. It's beside the monastery ruin. Onward to Haapsalu, a lovely town. With a unique old railway station museum. Tickets please. Ferries and smooth riding paths. And another surprise. If you go off the tourist track, you can get to Estonia's Uluru, the largest rock, and you can still climb it. The roadside wild strawberries are just delicious. Another surprise, a woolen mill and its suppliers. But all roads lead to the sea, with nautical heritage on display. And a final ferry crossing for the day. A touch of rain, a historic church, and a touch of Holland too. The Kali meteorite crater forms a perfect bowl lake for the rose finches to enjoy. It truly is the way to a good karma. And it's also the way to fabulous Kuressaare. It has a beautiful castle, its moat and surrounds are lovely. But less well known is the lovely beach with surf. Even your dogs can enjoy. A music festival livens the streets, or you can play your own. On through the bright wildflowers and bright houses. It's a well-ridden route for riders from all over. Church ruins are now art galleries. Seabirds galore and ancient fortress ruins lead to another ferry crossing and a living village museum at Koguva. The seaside Rana Motel at Vabla is a great place to reconnect with newfound friends and watch the midsummer sun set spectacularly over the sea. The day ahead leads us on to yet another crossing to a very special place. Kinu. Peaceful. Totally rural, and a visitor on a bike is something to look back at. Kinu is very traditional. The women don't wear lycra to cycle. And unique three-wheeled motorbikes are not unique here. Tractors never get old, and old ways and clothes persist. Kinu has lovely seascapes and sea snakes too. The lighthouse lets one see forever. It's time to leave Kinu and ride to Pärnu, Estonia's resort town. Popular European-style beaches, lovely streetscapes and parks, and great cafes. Pärnu is modern. The roadside blueberries are yummy. Tromani in Estonia leads to Ainaci in Latvia. Time to cool off at the beach. Check out the town and Hotel Helmi. Rivers and forests and surprising Hotelis Pailusa for morning tea. It's a hot day today, but it's great at Hotel Marina, Ozalane. Limbatsi is a quaint town. It hasn't modernised, but it has a castle, of course, and more recent living, but no accommodation. Large-scale agriculture and an occasional old fort. Caesars is a tourist town. Cobblestone square, gracious houses too, and of course its famous castle with candles to light the dark passages. Time to hit the road. The gravel calls for a bike wash. And a few hills to climb. Another total surprise awaits us at Lagatni, a 70s country retreat for government officials. But hidden 9 metres underground, it's a security bunker for the communist elite. It's now a living museum, not a replica. Gas masks for all, and a direct hotline to the Kremlin. Small towns and wide fields, and we arrive at Sigulda on the River Galja. Gutman's Cave is the oldest tourist attraction in Latvia, with centuries-old carved graffiti. It's on the road up to Taurida Castle, dating from 1214. Riga is a jewel of a city, with beautiful buildings, a superb underground jazz restaurant, and lots of biking tourists. The wild raspberries make the 20-kilometre ride to Jomala Beach very enjoyable. The beach is broad and very popular. Back in Riga, it's time to head to the ferry for the final overnight journey to Stockholm. Back in Sweden, and we can experience the unforgettable cruise through the Stockholm archipelago. Then it's time to revisit our friends Inga and Per and family for a final goodbye.